diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
During tax season, your personal info travels to a lot of places you can't control. Between payroll, your home office, your tax preparer, and the IRS, if your W-2 gets exposed, that's just the ticket for identity thieves. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Don't let identity thieves take you for a ride. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Welcome inside the Black Star Project, live from the Xfinity Studios here at WVON Radio 1690, the talk of Chicago. My name is Herb Howard. Every Saturday at 6 p.m., I am alongside my equal parts brilliant and beautiful co-host, the one and only Miss Juliet Scott. We are talking all things the Black community, from finances to government. Please join us. We want your opinion. Weigh in every Saturday at 6 p.m. right here on the talk of Chicago. Do you want a revolution?
Do you want a revolution? It's the Wake Up Show with the Illinois Black Chamber of Commerce on Chicago's essential storyteller, WVON.
Welcome to the Wake Up Show, Chicago.
Rise and shine. It's the Wake Up Show, where every sunrise is a call to action. Powered by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, we are the champions of change, advocating for diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility in the world of corporate and government contracting. It's not just a show, it's a movement. So get ready for another dynamic journey as we wake up the world to a new era of opportunities and empowerment. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry I.
Good morning, Chicago. It is the one and only Wake Up Show, Chicago, on WVON 1690 and iHeartRadio, where we can be heard worldwide. If you are on our Facebook page, which is the Wake Up Show, Chicago, please share the show. Yes, you can call us at 773-591-1690 and join in on the conversation, because today we are talking about being intentional. I am LaDonna Raeh, the co-host to our honorable, I say our honorable, because we are powered by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, and we are sponsored by the Wind Creek Casino in Southland in Homewood. But let me get my introduction to our host. Our host is a visionary and leader who is no stranger to leadership and the impact on Black businesses. He is the president and CEO of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce and chairman of the board of the National Black Chamber of Commerce in Washington, D.C. He is the driving force with advocating for Black entrepreneurs, businesses, and those that are thinking about having a business. Okay? Join me in welcoming our host, Mr. Larry Ivory. Good morning, Mr. Ivory.
My name is LaDonna Raeh. I am excited again to be on the Wake Up Show Chicago to engage with our listening audience and bringing content because what we do is simple, very simple. We strengthen Black businesses. So I'm excited about the show today, and we have some great guests on today that you will be talking about here in just a moment. So let's rock and roll. I'm ready to do it.
Yes. What does that look like? So over the weekend, happy Valentine's Day to those who celebrated and to those who it didn't, maybe next year. But watch this. I went to a grocery store and I had to, obviously we get our groceries. Eggs are sold out. Okay. They are sold out at $12 an egg, but, and I'm just joking, they're $1 an egg, but I stopped down the syrup aisle, because we have a member of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce by the name of Michele Hoskins, who is the founder. And if you're not on, just mute your mic, guys, if you got background noise, because we got some amazing guests. But I went down the syrup aisle and I purchased my syrups that are they're called they're by Michele Foods. Now, she told me about her syrup. She came to our event, and I thought that, this was just another syrup. Okay, I'll go ahead and support. I'm just going to be honest. But when I put that syrup on my waffles, then I moved it over to my oatmeal, and then I moved it over to my what else? Oh yeah, my chicken. It had to go on the salmon. Larry, I am here to tell you that I am a proud owner of Michele Foods syrup that is in Jewel and she's going to tell us about what other stores that she's located in, but I have 6 bottles. So, and no one in the house can eat it except me.
Well, I got to go get some also because once you told me about it, I'm like, look, I'm not going to have any of the syrup. So I got to find out in central Illinois where I can get the syrup.
Yeah.
But, also, LaDonna, we have none other than our good friend, a proud member and a strategic partner of the chamber. He is also a serial entrepreneur. He's also the president of the Illinois Black Business Fund. I mean, this guy needs no introduction. I mean, he was one of the leaders of McDonald's on the corporate side as an attorney. Just a who's who, and I'm so proud to have him on the air because he brings a lot of insight. So let's give a warm welcome to none other than Counselor Esquire Robert Johnson. Hey,
Love
Robert, glad to have you on, man.
Hey,
Thank
Robert.
you, Larry. Thank you. Hey, LaDonna. That's quite an introduction, Larry. And happy Valentine's Day
All
to
facts.
all of our listeners. Um, I don't know how to follow up that introduction, but I am extremely excited to have the opportunity to share the radio show with Michele Hoskins. Michele and I go back probably 30 years, and I'm her number one fan. And LaDonna, you just turned me on to a new use for the syrup. I never thought about putting it on my oatmeal. Um, so I'm gonna have to try that. But I'm looking forward to this conversation to expose all of our listeners to this amazing story, this amazing woman, and this amazing business.
Thank you, Robert. In this environment, guys, with the attack on DEI and other issues that we're facing, if ever is a time for us to support each other, the time is now. And I want to be pardon me, an advocate for Michele Foods and everybody that's listening. You listen carefully in terms of where you can go buy your syrup. As a matter of fact, we ought to have a campaign on Buy Michele Foods syrup. And that ought to be the syrup of choice for Black people all
Larry,
across the
what
country.
does it mean when you say ought to? Are we starting that now? Are we starting it on Monday?
We're
What
starting it right now. Right
okay.
now. We're going to
Okay. I
find
want
out
the
where the
script.
stores are at. Go do it right now and continue to do it because once you try to serve, at least what I said, like you said, LaDonna, it's like you got to fight your kids. You're trying to hide the syrup from your kids because you want, I'm like, I got to go
Man.
get some of that.
Yeah, and it's not that I really want to hide it from them. I just want to get the most use out of it before I share it with them. And I'm just being honest about it because they will love something and there'll be a drop left, and then I would have missed out on trying and having this commentary to have this conversation on the Wake Up Show Chicago. So I do plan on I have a couple of dishes that I want to try, but I want to bring her on, Michele, because I want to ask her about, because I watched her commercial. I went to her website. Look, I've studied this woman. I want to ask her a few questions down the road about some recipes. But can I bring her on now, Larry?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Man, I want to tell you guys, we have the owner, founder, and recipe maker. I'm calling her the mover and shaker of Michele Foods, located right here in Illinois, South Holland to be exact, who is located, her product is located nationally, nationally placed in restaurants, distribution centers, and grocery stores throughout the entire country. I want to bring on, and should I say, Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce member, Miss Michele Hoskins. Welcome to the
Good,
show, Michele.
good morning. Good morning. How's everybody?
Doing well.
Yeah. Thank you so much, LaTonna and Larry. You all have been almost a secret to me to some degree. I knew you existed, but I didn't know at the magnitude that you did. And I'm so glad when Robert told me, hey, you got to join. You have to be a part of this organization. And I was so impressed last Thursday when I came and met everybody and saw the networking and saw the businesses there. And I've kind of been like in the shadow of growing this company for the last 41 years and really trying to get it distribution all over the country. And so, I am home. This is my home. I'm Chicago raised. And Larry and I had a conversation, and he said, if there's one thing that you need in this 41 years of business, Michele, what is it? And I said, consumer awareness. Mm-hmm. And that is something that I think small and Afro-American businesses have the least of. We have to get out here and fight this battle of just maintaining, just being better than, or being as good as. And you do that, and then you have to also understand the back room, make sure that you have the products that you can deliver, that you can ship, that you can stay consistent. And when you're doing that as a small company, for as long as I've done it, you get to a plateau, you say, okay, here, I can see over the mountaintop, but who can see me? And I really am so grateful that Robert and Larry and you, LaDonna, have given me this platform to tell my people. Because someone once told me, if you were just a serpent choice for Black people, you would need the other people, right? And so I think it's time for us as small companies and Afro-Americans to recognize and know who is out here, who is sitting next to a product on the shelf that is competitive, but is for you. And I really want to thank you that you've given me this platform.
Of course.
Well, Michele, one of the things I'm so excited about is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that there's even some conversation about doing a movie about you and your story. Because I can imagine 41 years of being in the business, boy, you've had some challenges. I mean, you've had some mountains to climb and some oceans to swim. But you're here and you're still standing 41 years. I mean, this is such an honor for us to have you on the show. And I'm going to toss it over to my friend Robert, because Robert knows you better than we know you. And I want him to engage us in the conversation of really getting to know you. And more important, before we get off of this show, we want everybody to know where to get your product, how to support you, and how do we continue to help you. So, Robert, I'm going to pass the ball to you and let you and LaDonna kind of do your thing.
Thank you, Larry. Hey, Michele.
Hey, Robert.
And so I want to start this off and frame it sort of the way Larry talked about, because, Michele is an icon in our community that most people don't know. I mean, she is truly the real Aunt Jemima. Most people have grown up with this idolized version of this white woman who made syrup. And that's who many of us grew up to know. But there was a true Aunt Jemima and a true icon in our community that many of us don't know. So the purpose of this conversation is somewhat of a fireside chat, a coming out party, a celebration of an icon, and as Larry said, a call to action for us as a people to reclaim our own, reclaim our stars that are among us, to support those that support us, and to flex our economic might. So, Michele, can you just walk us back 41 years and tell us what made you get into the syrup business in the first place?
Okay, I'm going to make it as brief as I can. So in 1984, I was a single mom with 3 children living on the south side of Chicago. And I was sitting and I was in prayer and I thought about, my future. What do I want to do? And I had read that the 80s was a decade of women, and women were going to emerge as CEOs and executives of companies. And I want to be part of that movement. And I thought about it and prayed on it. And God gave me the vision of saying, why don't you start your own company? Now, right along that time, there was a recipe that had been passed down 4 generations to my mom, the third daughter in each generation. And she gave it to me. And I thought, what about if I put this on the market? Not knowing anything about this business at all, but being very spiritual, very focused on it. And so I went through the procedures and I found out how to formulate it and how to get it done and how to package it and how to put it in bottles and all the things that people do when they're learning how to do something. And then once I had this finished product, I took it around to the local food stores, and they were like Food Exchange, Food Basket. I'm pretty sure some of us remember those stores.
Yes.
And I asked the owner, the manager, could I put it on the shelf? If it sold, I would invoice them. If it didn't, I would, come back and get it. Well, I created this illusion of movement. I would go in myself and buy it and then recircle it and recircle it. Finally, I got very serious about it, and I went up to Jules food store in Melrose Park, and I asked the buyer, could I put it on the shelf? And he had told me at that time, I've never seen an Afro-American woman walk in here with a product. I've never seen someone that owned a product. And I've never seen anyone that has something that tastes so good. At the time I had one product, honey cream. He put it on the shelf 41 years ago, and we're still there. And through the course of that, I had to really understand this business. I knew nothing about the food business, nothing about the formulation, nothing. And I had to learn it, and I was very persistent about learning it, and I have. And so, Robert, just asked to get you kind of like now, we're now after 41 years, we've been on Jules' shelf, and a lot of people are going to be surprised by that, but we've been on that shelf 40 years. So you've gone in that store numerous amount of times, and I've always sit there. We're also in every other major retail chain in Chicago, Pete's, Mariano's, everywhere in Chicago. And then we're also a national brand. So that's how I kind of got started, Robert, and had to learn this business from nothing.
Michele, the first time, go ahead, Robert. I'll hold it.
Yeah, no, I just want to highlight two things that I know about Michele that I think our listeners need to hear, and it's about her persistence. Because as Larry said, for 41 years, you've had to run, swim, duck, dodge, do all kind of things in order to be successful. I mean, in fact, you weren't even supposed to have this family recipe. Tell the folks about that, and then your persistence in getting your big break with Denny's.
Yeah, so the product was handed down by my great-great-great-grandmother. Her name was America Washington. She was a slave in the late 1800s. And the family that she cooked for, as the story goes around the table, did not like molasses. So they passed the recipe down to the third daughter in each generation to keep it kind of authentic. And my mom was the third daughter. I was her only daughter, so I did not get it until I had my youngest daughter, Keisha. And once I got that, my mom said, it was like a snowy day like today. And I said, Mom, we don't want to come to your house to eat. Can you please let me cook it here at home? And I lived in the South Shore, and she lived out in the suburbs. And she gave it to me. And right as she gave it to me, I thought, this is it. I was so afraid of telling anybody because everyone thought when I did mention it, you were going to give away the secret. We're going to lose it. And oh, my God, I became the villain. And so I did. I snuck around and I finally did it. And my mom stepped in and said, look, I'm going to try to help you. And she found a company that could help me formulate it or whatever. And through that course, Robert, it was like, when I think back on it, it was knocking on doors, standing outside, not understanding this business, being around people that understood it, being around salespeople that looked at me really crazy. And so I said, well, how do I really get cash? Because I had no money, right? And so I read that Denny's was in trouble. And I'm like, maybe about you all know they had a big criminal, suit against them. And so I called them every Monday morning at 10:30 for 2 years. And one day, Jim Amberson, the new CEO, came on and he took over, and they asked him. And so the people that were helping us through transition said, well, listen, there's one thing on his way out the door. One thing that happens every Monday at 10:30 is a woman that calls. And they said, well, what's she calling for? Well, she wants to do business with us. And he said, wait a minute. And what is she? He said, she's an Afro-American woman and she's in surf business. They said, do you know we're in so much trouble? Call this woman up. I went down to the Carolinas. I met with him, and they made me first of all, before they did that, I told them, I said, look, I can help you. And I didn't have any manufacturing facility. I had no way to make that surf. I had nothing but just the desire to grow this business and be able to get some kind of cash flow. They offered me a $3 million contract, which gave me a $300,000 cash flow. Because what I did, Robert, I bought the surf from a a co-packer, and then I bought it for $8, and I sold it then for $9. So I made $300,000 in that deal. And when I did that, I had Denny's. I made a $300,000 cash flow. Denny's came to me and said, well, you have to match our specs. So I went to a co-packer and I said, hey, to someone that couldn't get that account, because I got it because I was an African-American woman, and they made it for me. And that's how I got that business. And that helped me with cash flow, because I never really had any real infusion of capital, any real, the SBA, none of those things, because I never was really qualified for them, so I had to figure out ways to grow this business and to stay in business.
The one thing own product that is prepared and it tastes so good. How did that make you feel? Of course, we would assume, oh, she must have felt great. But tell us about that feeling.
That was the most scariest day I have ever experienced. I walked out there and said, what does this mean?
Oh, wow.
And I because you have to understand what. To put you on the shelf. And that, Larry and LaDonna and Robert, is how diversity started, with Black companies coming into stores and not paying sliding charges. They did that because once they did that with me, it became discriminatory if they did it with anybody else. But that's how we got into diversity and being able to put a product on the shelf without any money.
Love it. Well, normally we go to break at 9:30, but we have a caller on the line. Tommy, welcome to the Wake Up Show Chicago. You're on with attorney Robert Johnson, Larry Ivory, and Michele Foods founder Michele Hoskins.
First of all, let me say good morning to all of you, and especially to Ms. Hoskins, because I was 33 years old when I moved out to Markham. And as she well knows, it's buffeted by Hazelcrest, and then you're in South Holland. At that time, there was a soul food place that was called Josephine's, if I'm not wrong. And there was also a Jules. And I have to say to this lady, I never knew who she was. All I know is I went down the aisle, and for once, I don't know why, it was this syrup that was up there that was different from everything else. Didn't look at the label, didn't look at the name. I took it, and I've been buying it ever since. I'd also like to say to the WVON family, I started my business to any organization, and I won't say the name of the business because it's not solicitation. You said it from the beginning. This is the greatest moment in our time for Black people, because all of this foolishness that is going on, now you hear it from this lady. Once again, I ask the WVO family, who will you listen to? Here is a Black woman who is telling you what she did for 2 years, calling the company. Come on. I mean, if that is not encouragement, for anybody, any. If you wish upon a star, it doesn't matter who you are. If you believe that dreams come true, they will for you. The only thing that is stopping us now is us. Our biggest adversary is ourselves. And at such a time as this is the moment in the time the truth comes marching forward, just as King said, that crushed down and stands up. And here you have this lady. And I want to salute all of you. And I say to WVON, Melody Span Cooper and Hermine Hartman said, in case my black men haven't heard it today, I want you to know I believe in you. I started a company. I do custom cabinet design. It's been done. Oh, man, I cannot tell you the doors that will be open for you if you just believe. Tune in to this radio station. Stop listening to absolute nonsense and listen to people who are alive.
I
like
love it,
these.
Tommy.
God
I
bless.
love it, Tommy. Make sure, Tommy, I know you're still listening. Make sure you go to our Wake Up Show Facebook page or our Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce and drop us a inbox message. Go ahead and hit the DMs. That's direct messaging, and give us your information because, Tommy, you too have a business and we want to align with you. We want to align with all of you out there who have a business with the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. So thank you so much for calling. Robert, do we have time for another call?
LaDonna, let me ask a quick question, then let's take another call real quick. No, go ahead. Let's take the call.
All right, Dr. Jeffrey Sterling. Well, I figured you'd want to grab this call. How are
Oh,
you
yes.
this morning, sir?
Hi, everybody. Hope everyone is well. And belated happy Valentine's Day to you, LaDonna. And
Thank
again,
you.
keep up the great work. This is such a wonderful application. I want to, first of all, commend you guys for using the platform to elevate a Black business. I think that that's the middle of the target, and I really like you focusing on that. If I may, I just wanted to call in just to say, please, 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 in the name of health, I got to throw that in there, right? Give me some type of sugar-free option, whether it's stevia, Splenda, or something else. And if you have an e-commerce platform, I would today just start ordering the stuff by the case and passing it out to all my friends and colleagues because we want to promote health as we extend Black business. So kudos to you and thanks to the Chamber as always for elevating Black business. Hope everybody's well.
Thank you, Dr. Jeffrey Sterling.
To that point, LaDonna, Michele, can you talk about the makeup of your syrup? Because I think that question belies an answer that I think only you can give, because Michelle's syrup is different from other syrups that are out there on the market. I mean, you can actually cook with it, and there are specific reasons why that she can speak to.
Okay, so my syrup does not have high fructose corn syrup in it. What I have in my syrup is in the honey cream, we have honey. We use a crystallized sugar that it's crystallized, but it's like a liquid sugar. And doesn't have all those additives in it. So the honey cream has honey in it. The maple cream has pure maple in it, 2% pure maple. And the butter pecan has a flavoring that I have formulated to be unique and different. And then we also have a butter bud in there and a cream, a dry cream. So we've been taking the cream because the original recipe was made out of honey, butter, and cream. So we've taken those ingredients and we put them in a formulation that you can cook with it. You can actually, so it's not a product. You can put it over pancakes, but it's not a product that you take and just pour over your pancakes. I put it in my cornbread. I glaze my salmon with it. I put it in my tea. I also marinate with it. I also pour with it. You can make popcorn balls. So it's more of a condiment. I tell everyone we're the only condiment on the syrup aisle. Not only are we uniquely different, but we also in a class of cooking. You can't cook with any other syrup. If you put those syrups in any kind of, like I have a guy that scrambles his eggs with the butter pecan, it turns to sugar. Our product does not do that. So, I'm also very health conscious. And the fact is that it is a product that you can cook in things you're not using a lot of it. You put a teaspoon in your honey or put, some in your cornbread. So it enhances that cooking and that recipe to a point where you get a boost, like a girl says, like a party in your mouth.
Mm-hmm. And I was going to ask you down the road about those recipes, because the one thing I haven't tried yet is putting it in my smoothie. That's number one. And number two, making candied yams. I can only imagine how good that buttercream would be in candied yams versus using only brown sugar.
Yeah.
Hey, LaDonna, I mean, my head is spinning because I'm just thinking about Wind Creek, as an ambassador for Wind Creek, that I want to make sure I introduce you to the Wind Creek family, who have casinos all across the country, even overseas. And we got to get you into Wind Creek. Let me ask this question real quick, because there's always a good, bad, and the ugly. You know, when I think about where you started, and when you said you was a mother and you went to someone, it's like going to a auto mechanic and they see you coming, and some of them take full advantage of you because they know you don't understand. In most cases, may not understand the auto mechanic business. Did people treat you okay? You know, a single mother with a heart and passion for the business. Were there some challenges that you had to deal with and had to overcome? And because I knew it couldn't have been easy, and just knowing America as it is, sometimes it can have its own challenges. Is there anything that sticks out in your mind that you said you had to overcome besides the tenacity and everything else that you did?
Yeah, I was, you have to understand the food industry is a good old boy system, and they are not used to us. And back in 1984 and 85 and 90, they were not used, it was nowhere near the products now, and there's not a lot of them. But I was like the only one out here. So I was treated kind of like, okay, you know, let her in because she's not going to sustain. See, people felt that they would give me shelf space, but I wouldn't stay. You know, how's she going to keep up with this big industry? How are you going to take a product nationally? I mean, I'm in 10,000 stores. I'm in some of the largest stores. I'm in Kroger. I was the first minority supplier for Walmart. I was the first minority supplier for Denny's. I was the first. And so people just kind of like, you know, just, well, you know, she's not going to be around, you know, let's get the supply diversity. Let's make sure we're following them. So we'll just use her. So they utilized me for that. And I took advantage of that. I was the first Afro-American woman on the WFF Food Service Board. I was the first Afro-American in Walmart. I was on Oprah 4 times. So the human interest story was such an amazing story to people. I was in Essence. I got all kinds of awards. I got the Madam C. Walker Award. And those things put me in a world, Larry and LaDonna, that wasn't mine. And so I became that syrup at someone out of Colorado or Utah or Iowa would buy it. So they would say, well, you're not really, you know, we don't need to promote you because you're a general market product. Well, no, I'm a Afro-American woman with a general market product. And so I also had those challenges, but I also have health challenges. I was diagnosed with a massive brain tumor and had 6 months to live. I had to get through that. I'm a breast cancer survivor. I was on welfare when I first started with my children. I was a single mom. You know, I was, you know, running the company in the basement. I didn't know how to balance books. I didn't know any of the things I know now. You know, I've mentored over 250 people in this business. I have people that I've helped build on the retail shelf. So the lesson that God gave me, and I really believe, and I get chills when I say that, He gave, when you get an assignment that is a spiritual assignment, and you are the leader of that assignment, you have to take that very, very seriously, audience. But God gives you something, you take that very, very seriously, and you utilize that faith and that knowledge that you gain from what you're doing, and you apply it to your business. And that's what I did. I applied everything I learned, everyone that told me something. How do you go national? This distribution. How do I do that? I got on the airplane. I went to Kroger, and I sat in Kroger's office, and I asked for distribution. I came back. I had to figure out how to make 1,000 cases now instead of 100 cases. And then when you do that, you cross those bridges. You become what you've asked or requested to be. And that's what I asked. I asked to be a successful woman in this food service industry and to be able to help and mentor other people. And that's what I'm doing, and that's what I've done. So 40 years later, you know, I was almost in tears when this guy said that he bought my syrup 33 years ago, or however long it is. Because those are the people that have kept me alive, the people that have heard about me, tried it. And so I'm kind of emotional right now, guys, because this is the first time I've ever been around my people that are pulling things out of me and asking me questions that no one else ever cared about.
I love it. If you guys are tuning in just now, we are listening, or you're listening to Michele Hoskins, the owner and founder of Michele Foods, Michele Syrup, which is also a nationally known name that is in Kroger's. It's also in Jewel if you're in here in Illinois. Michele, I want to ask you: is your syrup in any of the DEI initiative boycott locations? And I'm asking for a reason.
I was in Target. Target asked me to come to their store as a minority supplier 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I went into Target, and I was considered a diversity initiative for them. A year ago, before all this other stuff came up, Target called me and told me, Michele, after 2 years, you're no longer considered diversity. That means your terms change. And when I say diversity, what happens in this industry, as a supplier, you get better terms. So instead of getting paid in 45 days, you get paid in 30 days. They took that from me. And I told Target on the phone and in corporate, I want to come out of your store. Because if you cannot recognize me, I'm always going to be Black. I'm always going to be diversity. If you cannot recognize who I am, I don't want to be in Target. So I stepped out of Target on my own before all this other stuff happened. And the supplier told me no one has ever asked to come out of Target. I said, I do not want to be where I'm not wanted.
You are my hero.
And let me add something that our listeners really need to understand, because I think you could walk away from this thinking that because Michele is in 10,000 grocery stores and you hear this story of 41 years in business, that this is some huge corporate conglomerate. No, this is what Black business is. She is a small, woman-owned, Black-owned business. Michele Foods consists primarily of her and her daughter. So when you are shopping and buying her syrup, you are directly benefiting a small Black business. And Michele has this marketing campaign that she's been talking to me about for years. Can you talk about the 12-12-12 campaign that we need to launch as a people to support your brand?
So I'm glad I was able to say that about Target, because don't think Target is just starting this. Target has started this a long time ago. And so I'm proud to say that I lost money. I gave up a couple of $100,000. Wasn't that much when I left Target. But so this is the thing. I am in 10,000 stores nationally and some military stores. I worked very hard to maintain that. So you can imagine that I'm in all these states and I'm sitting on the shelf. Very few people know about me. Right now, it takes me, and Robin's right, I'm still a small business. I'm not one of them multi-million-dollar huge businesses. I'm not. I've got a little office in South Island. My daughter works for me. I have a couple of employees. But right now, it takes me almost 6 weeks to move a case out of 10,000 stores. That means only 1.5 to 2 people a week are going into that store. It's 1 million people go to each supermarket a week. If I was able to move a case a week, that's 12 people a week in the stores I'm in, I could be a company that would be able to grow, manufacture, hire, and expand and teach. And Robin has known that I've talked about something called Our People's Products. I would love to umbrella all the Black products out here that are in food and teach them what I've learned and make sure they have the distribution I have. Because it's taken me 40 years to get there. And a lot of people out there don't even know about me. But every day of my life, I have struggled, I have prayed to keep this product on these shelves. Because if you don't move product, they will take you off. And I have to fight these battles every week, every month with these retailers. And I have to do things. I have to put money where I don't have it. I have to promote where I don't have. And Robin knows my story. That's the challenge. I need to have, if I get 12 people a week to go into a jewelry store and buy that product, that means the case is moved and I can replace the case. But you wait 6 to 8 weeks to replace the case, and you're not moving as much product as the other people in this category are moving.
And right now, Jewel is running a special, buy one, get one free, which is how I was able to sample what I did. But I'm going to go back, obviously, because it's not far from me. The location, the product placement is important also. Can you tell us about the negotiation? And Robert, maybe you can help with this, because we have listeners out there that have product and we have seen the placement of our products where it's not necessarily eye level, it may not necessarily be as prominent as other brands. Is there a negotiation phase or subject matter that can take place when it comes to these stores so that we are more aware of these items or these products that are in the stores that we go to?
Yeah, you know what? I was blessed because I started early and wasn't a lot of competition. There are products. I know most of all the Apple products in the stores now because Jules is one of the largest Afro-American distributors of products across the country. And they have Safeway and Albertsons. And I know a lot of small businesses do not know how to get out of Chicago, or they feel like if I go to Chicago, I got to pay transportation. And anyone out there, I think if you all have anybody who wants to maybe email me, ask me questions, or if I can give me direction, I'm open to that because I understand it. But the placement comes from the consistency of being on that product, on that shelf. So right now we're doing a buy one, get one free. Don't think that I'm giving away a bottle free. That free is not given away. It's cost associated with that, but it's Black History Month. And I feel like Black History Month, we as Afro-Americans have to be given to the consumer. If I'm going to ask you about my product, I have to give you something. And the only time I can really give it is several times a year through a promotion. And this is what I do in Black History Month. I'm giving you a bottle, but I'm eating a bottle. So the distribution comes from talking to the buyer, us supporting that product. If you support a product, they're going to pay attention. The retail category is built on how much money can I make in this category? And the leaders of that category are the ones that get the best place, to get cupcakes, to get all that. And I'm competing against other products. But I am persistent. I talk to a buyer and I do things that other people don't do. I invested in commercial. I invest in things that other people would be afraid to invest in. But if you don't invest in yourself, you're not going to get the benefit. So sometimes you have to just say, hey, this $100,000 I made, maybe I want to go buy a car. No, you don't. You want to put that back in your business. Because what's the car is going to still get you the same place. I don't drive. I used to say I've been driving the same kind of car for the last 30 years, a little Lexus car that I drive. So I put my money back into my company. You have to consistently do that. And then you have to surround yourself with people that want to support you. So the shelf level is important, but you have to kind of earn that shelf level, LaDonna. Yeah. And
That's how you get the best shelf space, is by selling product. So we need people to buy Black products because that shows the buyers that this is what the consumer wants.
We ought to launch a campaign, guys. And I'm talking off the top of my head here. Is that with our bandwidth, we ought to have a campaign with Michele, Robert, where if you're Black and you're not buying her syrup, shame on you. Because if I can find her syrup, I like Buttersworth and I like Aunt Jemima, but if after talking to Michele, I'm done. If I can find her syrup, that's what I'm buying. And I'm going to tell
Exactly.
everyone in my family, this is what you're going to buy.
But you like Buttersworth because that's what you know about.
That's it.
Exactly. That's the
That's
only
exactly
reason.
it.
They got
So,
marketing dollars.
so
Yeah.
we
If
have to
we do a
begin to,
blind taste test and put Michelle syrup up against anybody else, it should kill a game.
yep. And we can start having our people call the stores and say, hey, do you have the syrup? If you don't have the syrup, we want you to get the syrup. So we're going to work together with a campaign with you, Michele, to support you because we love what you've done. We love the fact that you're a African American mother who understands us, and it is an honor to support you. I mean, that's an honor
something
to
else,
support
Larry.
you.
This is something else. If you support me, you're supporting the other minorities because once they see that there's a following for a brand, they're going to take notice of the other brands. And they're going to say, wait a minute, there are people asking about these products. And then I know if you go into Juice right now, you're going to see every Afro-American product that is in that store on sale. Buy one, get one free. And you'll recognize who this person is and you'll know. And so it's the knowledge of it. But yeah, if we start that campaign, then the stores will say, wait a minute, we have people coming here and ask for Black products. We have to make sure we showcase them. We have to make sure, because especially if you're in an African community, they want your business. They want to sell to you guys. And that's how they usually start the company off in the Black neighborhood. So you might have a product that's Afro-American in the Afro-American community. It might not be in a general market community. So we have to learn how to support each other, because my product, honestly, like Robert said, costs more for me to make. It's hard. And I own my bottle mold. It's a lot goes into that quality that eats up my profit, because I have to constantly keep up with the industry.
Well, I don't want to go too far without getting to our caller. Janice, you're on the line. You're on the Wake Up Show Chicago.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Okay, come on, Miss Michele. I will be buying your products.
Thank you
I go
so
to
much.
once a month. But you know what? I'm having problems with two products. I'm having problems with Angelica cakes, because I went over there to Jules and they don't have it. I used to buy one a week. I shouldn't tell you that, but they were so good. And my sister's going there today, and I told her that Angelica used to be in Country Club Hills, and it's gone. And you call there, they say the number's not operable. And I have another.
Let me tell you about that. Okay, I'm gonna just tell you, answer that real quick. She was a product of Jules. That is a complete showing you, if you're not supported, what happens. And her cakes were not supported by us, and they discontinued them. And they replaced it with a white cake. They asked them, a white company, can you come in and imitate this cake? And they did. And the only way you know it's imitated.
Wow.
I know. Only way and then so she could not survive it. She could not survive it, because what she did, she had a fresh product. So the blessing that I have a shelf life of 2 years. She had a shelf life of 30 days. So her product was not turned over enough, and they couldn't freeze it, and they would freeze her product, put it back in. And because she did not have the support that we're starting to now understand we need to give to these suppliers, she lost that business.
Well, my sister's going there today, and she said she's going to take her son in there and say, you got that page there, give me a rain check. And I'll be calling the corporate office in the morning. I had to, you know, if you get older now, you know.
Thank you so much, Miss Janice.
I got time. And Mr. Larry Ivory, you helped me to get that Reggio's Pizza into Walmart there in Country Club Hills. But then they took it out. And now I don't drive because of my right eye. So my sister takes me shopping once a month. And then and got some Reggio's, some jewels, and the display wasn't right. Several of them, I like the vegetarian chili, they were open. And also I was able to get some turkey pizza because I don't eat pork.
Well, Miss Janice, I hate to interrupt you. We're coming up on the end of the show, but make sure you follow us on social media so that you can give us your comments and your experience, so that we can step in as much as possible. But go ahead.
LaDonna, so I can follow up with her because we're going to be launching a real campaign on buying Black, and the chamber is going to lead that. In my role as a national chairman of the National Black Chamber of Commerce, we're gonna support each other because we need to. And as I said to all Black entrepreneurs, we love you. This is the purpose of which I exist and our organization exists, is to strengthen Black businesses. There's nothing that is more exciting to me than the helping Black business owners. That's the ultimate high for me, to get a deal done and make it happen, and to be around people like Robert, LaDonna, Lorenzo, and all our friends, Dr. Sterling, so many great people, Vincent Gilbert, Supreme Solution. We have to come together to protect each other's interests, and that's what we have to do, ladies and gentlemen.
So, Larry, can you talk about how we're going to launch this campaign so that people know to get started today?
Well, first of all, go to Michele, go and buy at Jules right now. All of us who's listening, call your friends and go buy the syrup. I mean, let's buy the syrup and let's see the results of that. We're going to get back and strategize about how we do that and how do we impact her business. So Robert, all of us will get together and we'll come up with a strategy. We got some very talented people like Deborah Farmer, yourself, LaDonna, and so many other people. So we'll figure it out, and we're going to support you, Michele, and we want to support other people just like you.
And Michele, can you tell I saw Robert saying something. I'm going to ask Michele to tell us where they can go to purchase her products.
So if you want to go on my website, you can see all the stores I am nationally. So if you know someone is in California or the East Coast or whatever, you'll see where we're located across the country. Also, we also so you can find out everywhere we are on our website, www.michelefoods.com.
And Michele is spelled with one L, guys. I just want to make
Yeah,
sure you know that.
Yeah, with one L. And I'm so emotionally overwhelmed because finally, y'all, someone getting attention and helping me is going to help these other companies. And I have a complete contact with them. And Robert and I had talked about even umbrella them under something called Our People's Products. We need to know what's out there available for us that is a better price than the ones that their competitors are.
All right, Robert.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to just touch on real quick. What we're trying to do to support what Larry's talking about. In addition to supporting Michele, there's a lot of other Michelles out there that need support. So we're trying to launch this campaign called Our People's Products that we want to umbrella and provide support so that we can move in mass as a unit to support Black businesses, particularly in the food and retail space. And then we're looking to get into manufacturing because the other hidden side of this is that a lot of these Black businesses that are in the food space, they're giving a lot of their money away to white co-packers because we can't manufacture our own products. So we're looking to develop a manufacturing facility that we can umbrella all of these Black food products under. So if you are a Black-owned manufacturing company and you're looking to partner with other Black businesses, please let us know who you are, where you are, so that we can start working together.
And don't be afraid to partner with other Black businesses, even though you don't know them. A lot of times we are afraid to get together and we can't experience what it takes to come in mass numbers. So just keep that in mind. It is important to pull together because the stronger we together, we are strong. And a lot of times you hear people say, listen, I don't know them. I'm going to do this on my own. Yeah.
I just got a text from Courtney Reynolds. She's a world-class lobbyist in Springfield. And she said, Ms. Hopkins is a wonderful person. I'm like LaDonna. I truly enjoy her product. So I got people texting me already. They enjoy the product. Let's support Michele Food and others. And the chamber will begin to take the lead with our chambers across the country in Wisconsin, Alabama, Florida. And we're going to campaign. We're going to move this on a national level. And I'm looking forward to Michele. We'll give you any closing comments you have for us. And then LaDonna, you can wrap us up.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I feel truly blessed. God answers prayers. I'm truly, truly overwhelmed. Larry, you mentioned earlier about a movie. I wrote a book called Sweet Expectations. I have a screenplay that I'm shopping. We're looking to see if someone is interested in putting it on the big screen or on Netflix or somewhere. But it's a finished script. We've worked on it for years, and it's out there. It tells this whole story. And lastly, I just thank everybody. This is something that I have prayed for is consumer awareness. That's what helps any company, and we need that. And like Robert said, I know and have touched and have helped most of these companies out here, so we know where they are, know where the bones are buried, so to speak. So I just appreciate the audience, Larry. I appreciate you, LaDonna, Robert. I love you dearly, and this has just truly made the journey. I can finally see the landscape. I'm no longer looking down now. I'm looking up, and I thank you, everyone that tries my product. Email me, text me, let me know you have it, you've gotten it, and I really appreciate everyone in our listening audience that has heard me. And thank you so much. I mean, I feel like I'm where I need to be.
All right, good deal. Well, everybody, you've been listening to the Wake Up Show Chicago right here on WVON 1690 and iHeartRadio across the country and the entire world. We have had special guest Michele Hoskins, the owner and founder of Michele Foods. Larry Ivory, I'm so proud to co-host with you, and Robert Johnson, attorney Robert Johnson. Thank you for setting the record straight. Again, you can share this show. Michele Hoskins talked about getting her screenplay onto Netflix and all of that, but you can put it on Vaughn TV. Yes, you can. We have Vaughn TV right here at WVON, and you can check us out each and every Saturday for the Wake Up Show Chicago at 9 a.m. Central, guys. Share this show. It is on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you on the other side. Go out and purchase Michele Foods syrup today.
The Georgia Entertainment Association is a member. The president and the CEO are members of my entertainment committee in Tyler Perry. So we will be reaching out to you with Harry Lennox also. So we're going to make it happen.
All right.
Yeah, Blair, please do, because I had the screenplay. You'll love it. I like to share that with you. And we're also in Atlanta. We're all over the country, so I would love to be able to pull that product out of Atlanta too in Kroger.
All right, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. It's The Wake Up Show every Saturday morning at 9, where change begins with every sunrise.
Welcome to the Wake Up Show, Chicago.
That's the end?
The talk of Chicago is 1690 WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
His mission is to get rid of the junk science and get rid of the people who have